Hey everyone, Cem Tezcan here. I'm recording this video for showing the latest update of my rain material, which you can find on Fab. And here is the product page. And you see that this material just creates rain flows on materials and objects with or without making any material adjustment on the project. Yeah, for showing the usage of this system within a project file, I have added the urban trash to my Unreal 5.6 project. And here is the latest release so far, and you can see that there is rain material here, and scene trash is included right here. So first of all, let me show you the main components of the rain system first, and then we will apply those effects on the trash level maps. So under the rain material and under the maps, there's an untitled level which shows the general application of this material. First of all is the post-process volume, where you can see this volume right here, and also there is a material applied to this volume, where you can see that rainflow post-process material instance. So if your camera moves inside this volume, you will see that there are drops over the camera. So this effect just generates drops on the camera, and you can adjust the animation parameters of it as well. Let me navigate to this material. You can find it here, and by double clicking it, you will see the general parameters for this post-process material. So you see that drops are looking like this. You can change the effect intensity, and also drops intensity can be adjusted to control the density of it. And you can change the overall layers of the drops as well. And since the general flow speed set to 0, you can animate it to create some kind of flow. It's hard to see actually. Let me increase the effect intensity a little bit. More of it creates artifacts. And yeah, setting the flow type to 4 makes the drops much more recognizable for this introduction. And you can change the flow speed by changing these parameters of the post-process material instance. So let me show you the next use case of this pack. And this is the overall volume that's applied without adjusting any material. This just is a blueprint. It has particles, and it makes the meshes inside the volume to get this flow and splash effects according to the geometry of the mesh. You see that the side surfaces has flows and top surfaces has splashes. You can see it better on this sphere, and you see that splashes going on at the top of the surface, and the flows are around the side surfaces. So this is a all-in-one system within the project because you just drag and drop this blueprint inside your level by applying it. For example, you need to just navigate to the rain material folder first, and under the blueprints, this is the BP rain volume with post-process. So you drag and drop it, and this all-in-one system just applies to your project. Let me delete it and make the demonstration on the existing one. If I select this one, you will see that bunch of parameters are also accessible on this blueprint as well. You can change the raindrop speed, which is the particles in this case, to let me set to 5, and the drop speed will be fastened by this parameter. So starting from the first parameter, which is the runtime enable, if I click to it, you see that this effect is disappeared because this system, actually this switch is used for packing your game. Before packing your game, you just need to enable this one and pack your game after that, enabling this one, because this way the effect is enable itself in the runtime. Otherwise, you will see that on the viewport. So you make your adjustments by these parameters on the viewport and just enable this runtime enable switch and pack your game. So disabling this to see the effects better, and I will switch to game mode to make the outline disappear. Yeah, so there's a post-process effect switch here. If I enable it, you see that the last adjustment that we have made on the post-process material is also applied to this one, and we can just adjust this post-process effect by navigating to the post-process material instance, which is right here. So the drops were flowing at last time, and we can change it by to 0 by stopping the volumes on the post-process effect. So anyway, let's move on to the next parameter, which is the particle rain. You see that the particles are just flowing through the sky, and if I disable it, we just remove them. Let me also disable the post-process filter, and if I enable it, you can see the drops are coming back like this. And the final switch is the rainy surface projection, which makes these flows and splashes through the existing meshes. There is no material editing on this one because you see that this base shape material is assigned to this shapes. Let me double click to them, and you will see that there is no editing has been done on these parameters, on these materials. So these are untouched materials, but you see that this surface projection system makes them look like they are under rain. So let me find the blueprint back, and yeah. Alright, and if I disable this surface projection switch, the rain effect will go on the meshes, because you see that there is a slight color change on the surface, and also splashes are disappearing when I deselect this tick. So the first parameters right here are related to the particle system. You see, as I show at the first part, that this rain drop speed just controls the drop speed of these particles. If I set it to 0.1, they will come very slowly, like a bullet time effect right here, but the turbulence makes it problematic on the speed. But if I set to 1, you'll see that the drops may look much more real time. Here is the spawn rate of the raindrops. You can set it to a higher level to make more dense particles flowing through this emitter. And raindrop size controls the size of the single drops. Let me set it to 5, and you will see that they got huge. You can adjust it to your according to the scale of your level design. And also the raindrop lifetime controls the lifetime of each particles. These particles are not getting through the bottom surface, but in case you don't want to get through any surface, you can adjust the lifetime to control the bottom line of this rain effect for the basis of the particles. Let me show you that if I set it to 0.1, you will see that the particles will end up at this level. 0.5 works like this, and also you can increase it to make them stop at any level according to their lifetime. So setting this back to 1. The other parameter is the particle turbulence. Let me set it to 0, and all drops will be directional like this. But if I increase it like 0.8, you will see that the particles will look like more disturbed by the wind. You see that the drops are getting angular randomly with this parameter. So if I set it to a higher value, they will look much more bad actually, but you can adjust a slight number to control the turbulence and make them much more uneven on the flow. Let me see. These are the raindrop particle parameters. Also, I want to mention that if I change the scale of this volume, these particle rate and particle size will automatically align according to the scale of the volume. So if I set the scale to 2, the spawn rate will recalculated according to the number you have entered to this area. Also the particle size and lifetime and other kind of parameters will not be affected by the scale by this way. So this way it will be easier for you to just scale your volume to make it just preserve the settings you have made so far. So then let me disable the particle rain for showing the rest of the parameters which are related to the surface projection, and these are the surface projection parameters. If I increase the UV multiplier, you will see that the tile of this drops will be increased. You see, so if I decrease it, they got bigger, and if I increase it, they will get smaller. So UV multiplier is work for just makes you control the overall scale of the drops on the surface projection. So the flow speed is important for the scale, because if I set your UV multiplier to a higher number, the flow will be look slower, since the drop sliding is not changed, but the size is got smaller. So you need to increase the flow speed according to your UV scale to preserve the overall flow effect on the surface. So if I set the UV multiplier back to 1, this flow speed will get so high. So let me change it to a smaller value to make the flow look much more reasonable. So here other parameter is the flow effect intensity. You can increase and decrease it to create the intense drop recognizability. So the brightness is the overall brightness of the surface, and the roughness is used for adjusting the roughness inside the volume. So you can see that the reflections are getting much more higher if I set the roughness to a lower value, which is 0 by default. And you can change those to their default values as well. So this is the overall system which is added as a blueprint to make your scene look like it's under rain. So it's kind of a one-click solution for this case. So the third system is the translucent material, which has the main flow of the raindrops, which works as a normal map and a translucent map. You can find it under the materials folder, rainflow material instance right here. And if you double click to it, you will see the parameters inside to adjust, to make adjustments on the translucent surface. So here, let me make this much bigger and put it right here. So there are parameters inside this material instance, and you will see that the first one is the disabling the effect, which makes just disappear the whole normal map manipulation and the animation right here. So this is the normal intensity. Let me extend this area a little bit. This controls the overall drop intensity, like this. And here UV multiplier controls the overall tile of this animated material right here. All right. And next we have these parameters right here. Most of them are for debugging any adjustment or making much more specific flow systems, but the default ones works nice so far. So you will see that tiny drops and the flows are working really great. And the thing I want to mention first before showing these parameters is the layer number of the rain material, which controls the complexity of the animation. You will see that the second layer is enabled and the rest of them are not, which makes it a really lightweight and looks so realistic so far. If I disable the second layer, let me show you, the material will be a little bit simpler and the flows will not look so good, but it will also make it much more lightweight. I'm enabling the second layer, and here is the third layer enabled version, which is much more dense, which has much more dense drops on it. You may need to adjust the flow speed according to the complexity of the rain. Let me show you by stopping the animation first, and you will see that here is the overall normal map with the third layer is enabled. Enabling the fourth layer, and the previous layer just disappears. Here it is. These are applied for the whole flow through a glass actually. So if you are planning to make water flow through a road or something, you may use this, because after the second layer it makes it much more complex and make it nearly soaked in water like effect. So here I am disabling them one by one, leaving it at the second layer, and you will see that if I enable the, for example, fifth layer, we will get much more control on the flow speed parameters of the rain system. You will see that, let me disable the general flow speed first, or I can adjust it to a smaller value like this. You will see that different layers are flowing in a different speed. So these parameters are used for adjusting these flow speeds relative to the general flow speed. For example, if I increase the all layers got two kind of parameters. One is the flow speed and other one is the mask flow speed. Mask is just used for eliminating some of the drops in the texture to make it much more to create much more disordered flow. So you can adjust both of them differently, because if I set this first layer flow speed to 5 or 15, let me drop it to 0, actually it doesn't make much more of a difference, because the top layers, the second and the third one, just overlays the first one, and it's hard to recognize through this screen. But let me just set the, yeah, it makes a slight difference by here, but let me set a high value. Actually it doesn't much more recognizable, sorry for that. Let me change the flow speed of the second layer by here. Yeah, that makes a little bit much more recognizable difference by here. And if I change the mask flow speed, it will also change the disorder of the second layer flows. So adjusting those may create a different and unique flow to your animation. So setting it to 1, and you will see that it's kind of too fast actually. So you can change the general flow speed to a lower value, and you can crank up all the flow speeds by changing these values independently. So but the general flow speed is just a parameter that overrides all of the flow speed values. So anyway, I am setting this to second layer back, setting the general flow speed to 1, and this looks much more like a window that exposed to a rain drops like this. So we have tiny flows here and there, and the rest of the glass is looking like has static drops here and there, and there's a nice flow through this screen. Anyway, this is the translucent material, and the one that I have updated with this release is the overlay material function. So this one was, before going to that, let me show you one last parameter right here. Actually, there are a bunch of parameters right here that you can adjust the index of refraction to control the refraction intensity of the glass right here. You can adjust the opacity to make the glass look darker or fully invisible. So the specular amount just controls the, actually in the ray trace mode, the specular amount was working as an index of refraction value at the earlier stage of the Unreal Engine 5. So I left this parameter for you to control the specular value as well for that case. And the last two parameters are the splash mode, which is used for the horizontal surfaces to make splash effects like you saw on the previous projection system. So if I enable this splash mode, you will see that the drops will randomly appear like this, and the splash speed controls this random appear or the splashes of the drops. If I set it to a lower value, you will see that the splash interval will be higher, so it will look kind of a problematic in that case, but the 0.5 works nice for having some splashes like this. You can also increase or decrease the layer amount like we did on the flow version as well, and you see that the splashes can be applied on any layer complexity as well. You can increase the splash speed for making a much more drop speed to increase the drop speed as well. So splash mode is used for like this, and we can move on with the overlay material function that I mentioned that I have updated on this version. So here is the actually, let me introduce you the overlay function first. This is the rain normal overlay function, which is a graph, which is a blueprint that controls the flow system, but this system just works for making the flow and splashes on the material as well. In the previous version, it has only splashes all over the UVs, but now it's UV independent. So if you just rotate your geometry, top surface will have still the splashes and the side surfaces will have the flow. So if I set it to an angular way, you will see that this side will have both splashes and the flows as well, and all the flow will go down through the gravity. So this makes it a much more convincing. So I really like this way, because the previous system that uses the surface projection doesn't have any normal map manipulation. It's just a color and the roughness adjustment over the existing geometry. But this one has the normal map manipulation, so it makes it much more recognizable, as you see that the total shading is looking much more convincing according to the drops and the animation. But this just needs to be edited through the existing material. Let me show you what I did to make this effect, because you will see that this is the original material of the cube, and you see that there are a bunch of normal map detail on the surface, but you will see that we have kept the existing normal map and also has a drop animation through the normal map as well. If I switch to the buffer visualization through the normal map Let me see which one is that. Where normal maybe works. Yeah. You will see that both normal details like the circles here and there and the drop animation has been kept on this solution. So here, let me switch to the lit mode back. Let me show you how I did this, because this is the overlay function and this is the applied instance of the existing material. I'm double clicking to this material to see how it's manipulated first. You see that the instance of this material has the exact parameters that I explained on the previous sections, like the UV multiplier or the normal intensity and other kind of stuff. But before that, you will see that the base material or the parent material of this cube, here it is. I'm double clicking to it, and here all I have done is to add this overlay function to this material. Let me show you how I did it. You just open up, actually I can do this on the untouched material as well. You will see that this is the noise of the normal map that applied to this cube, and this is the original material. So I am drag and dropping it to here, and before the connection of the normal input, I'm setting the I'm connecting this normal map result to an existing normal map input, and rainy normal map is connected to the normal. And after saving it, we will see the exact solution, exact result with the other cube. But the two things you may consider is to adjust your base color, which I suggest you to multiply it by 0.2, and also roughness can be decreased a little bit. The original one was the 0.5. I'm setting it to 0.2. Let's save it. And by having darker color and a less rough material, it looks much better as it's under rain. So it doesn't look like it's dry by having a darker tone on the base color, and the roughness value just controls and creates better reflections through the surface. So it will be much more reasonable for getting a rainy material. So this was the last part of the application of this pack. You saw that the first one was the post-process material. The second one was the one-click solution for the particles, surface projection, and the post-process effect inside this volume. The third one was the translucent material, as you can see right here. And the fourth one was the normal map manipulation through the overlay function that I created on this update. So this version just applied by UV independent solution, and always the flow is just going towards the gravity. So let's switch to the urban trash map and apply some of these effects on this example levels. Let me save those. And here is the showcase level of the urban trash. Actually, let me show you the material, actually the pack. You will see that this pack contains so much of trash, cardboards, and other kind of garbage. and they are greatly modeled or scanned. I'm not sure how they have been created, but it looks really cool as a composition here. And let's see what we can do on this area. You will see that there it has already got some watered areas here and there, but we want these to be look like fully under rain. So let me try the one-click solution first, which was under the rain material blueprints section, and you will see that the blueprint is right here. I am drag and dropping it here, increasing the scale to 2, and let me switch to game mode to get rid of the outline. And now you see that we have splashes here and there, and also all the materials look like having less roughness, and all the geometry having complied to the splashes and the flows on the side surfaces. Flows actually looking less recognizable on these bins, but let me see. Actually, we can adjust the effect intensity right here. This is too much. Actually, let me set it to 0.5, and you see that this garbage has flows on the side surfaces like these one as well. Let me adjust the scale. Let me find the, here surface flow multiplier can be set to 2 or even 4 to make the drops much more tinier. But since I have multiplied the UV by 4, I need to multiply the flow speed by 4 as well, setting it to 20. So here we have much more faster flows. Maybe we can decrease it a little bit. 10 looks nice. And here you see that we have splashes and we have flows right here. And also these are having splashes as well. We have camera effect on the glass as a post-process effect as well. We can disable it by here, and also we can disable the particles by here. And finally, for the surface projection, which is applied here, we can just disable it as well. Let me enable them all, and let's switch to game mode. Alright, now I can disable it to show you the difference that blueprint makes. So we have this view. I am just enabling this to look like this. Let me switch to the camera mode, and let's see. Let's disable the post-process effect to see the difference much better. So here I am disabling it. It's all dry, and enabling it to have them all looking under rain. The focus just ruins it a little bit. So here it looks much better. This is very lightweight solution, by the way. And these cardboards will have the flows and the splashes as they are supposed to have. This is an angular surface, so it has the combination of the flows and the splashes as well. So this is pretty much with the one-click solution. And now let's apply the material overlay function, which uses the normal map to create the water flow and the splashes on this area. So for adjusting the materials, we need to find the parent materials or the master materials of each object. As a starter, I'm going with this cardboard, selecting it. This is an MI and blah blah material. MI stands for the material instance, which means it is instanced through a master material. So here it is as the parent. I'm double clicking it. And here we have a material blueprint right here. You will see that there are a bunch of texture inputs has been assigned to the material function, and finally get the final output by here. I am double clicking to this material function as well, because if you make the change on the parent, it will affect all the material instances just created through that master material. So it's better to find the parent material or the parent material function to make this manipulation as to make it the material look like under rain. So here I am switching to finding my material overlay function, and here we have the master material function right here. Let me see how it works. There are normals here, and there's an input tangent normal and other kind of stuff. Just goes through a material attribute node, and there are two of them, and they are just there's a switch to make them switch between. So let's find the last connection through the normal input, which is here and here to this point. I am moving this right here by pressing the control key. I am connecting this to the normal input and connecting it to the existing normal map. So here I have just manipulated this material attribute, but there are one of them as well, because they are switched in a way which I don't know. But let me find the connection to that. Yeah, it's here. Maybe we can just restore here, since we can just add, we can add the manipulator function right here. So this way we have manipulated it right here, but it will distribute through the two material attributes as well. So let's save it and see if it works. Yeah, we have normal manipulation right here. But before doing that, we may need to adjust the base color and the roughness as well. So here is the base color connection. I will add a multiply node, connect it to the A and set the B to 0.5. And connect it back to the base color. And for the roughness, I will do the same. Let's copy and paste. Connecting it to A, and roughness is also dropped by multiplying it 0.2. Saving it. So the complied material is like this. So we need to do the same for this one as well. Probably some decal system just making a switch between these two. So I am copying these two multiply nodes, and I will connect the base color of the bottom one and the roughness of the bottom one as well, and save it again. There's not much of a change right here, but actually makes sense this way. Probably these are the projected decals, but works fine so far. So the cardboard has the normal map manipulation well. So let me see this one, because it looks like it isn't affected by the modification we have made. I'm double clicking to the material instance of this specific one, and here is the master material, and there is another material function here which is not adjusted as we did on the previous material function. So let's make the normal map modification on this one as well. Let me see the normal map here. Alright, I am connecting these to rainy normal map and connecting this as an input to the material function. So let's make the base color and roughness multiplication to make them less rough and darker. It looks like much of a job compared to the previous one-click solution, actually, which I love it for that. But this way, the normal maps may look much more cinematic than the other one. So yeah, we have this one as well. We need to find the rest of the materials that isn't affected by the drops. For example, the garbage bags looking like they've been affected. Let's see this concrete. Yeah, it's also affected. Boxes looking like, yeah. We have the wall. Actually, it has a displacement. Yeah, let's try to make the master material of this wall. Double clicking to the material instance. Here is the parent material. So here, let me enlarge. And we have actually a 3-layer vertex painted system, or just a height blend is going on actually. So these are the base materials that is blended through their height maps actually. Yeah, they are layers. Let me see the instance first. Oh, I see. You enter textures for 3 layers and they all just blended into a final material like this through the vertex color. Yeah. So we need to adjust the 3 of them independently. So let's start by the base layer. Alright, we have the textures and the base color, roughness and normal. Let's manipulate them. I am drag and dropping the R modifier here, pasting to multiply nodes. I'm going to copy this 3 for the other 2 layers. So for the normal map, I am connecting this to the existing normal map and connecting this to the output. Let's make it for the roughness as well. Actually, I may do this base color and roughness manipulation inside this overlay function as well. So this way we will just connect the base color and roughness and get this as well. So actually I did it for the roughness, but for this demonstration I will just make them by just multiplying them 0.2 on this case. But the next update I will add the base color and roughness manipulators inside this node, so you won't need to add multiply nodes manually. So let's do that as well. Switching to the second one. Let's paste these three. Roughness. So it will be better to make these just adjustable by parameters on the next update. So sorry for that, actually it was a very easy task to do, but I have forgot to, actually I didn't just realize that it may be needed. So wait for the next update, which I will release not far away from this date that I will publish this video actually. So I'm connecting this to roughness and finally the base color. So let's save these three as well. And let's see if the wall has the water flow. Yeah. Right, the displacement ruins the effect a little bit. Actually, for the close-up renders, this displacement is not a good idea, but for distant rendering, it may be good. Yeah, we have the ground material is also have this displacement, but doesn't affected by the rain. Let's see the master material of the ground material as well. Here it is. Pasting our three manipulators. This is the base color, this is the roughness, and this is the normal, sorry. Saving the last one, and this area is not looking that like it's affected, but probably it's a decal. Yeah, it's a decal. I'm double clicking to the decal material, finding the master material of it, and probably this is the last one we are going to manipulate. Saving it to see. Yeah, finally it's also affected by the result. Since I'm going to check the close-up look on this materials, maybe maybe it's better to just remove the displacement on this materials. Let me see if they had displacement. Yeah, it has. All right. So I am going to make a constant displacement for them to remove displacement, as a 0.5 maybe work. And yeah, let me see, this has a displacement as well. Sorry for ruining the all displacement of the project, but probably the wall had displacement as well. This may, yeah, this is the base. These don't have any displacement. Let me see the wall. Yeah, let me remove the displacement for the wall as well. Yeah, this is the final. If I save it, probably. Let me save the displacement materials to see if the whole displacement will be disappear. Decals are not responding well to the material because they don't have UVs. But yeah, we'll just, yeah, the displacement is gone. But the normal map manipulation looks really nice. Like this. So you can adjust all the UV tile of or the any other material parameters of the rain by adjusting all the instances back on this level. But the faster way is to just change the default values inside this material function. For example, if you want to change the UVs, you may need to access the material function of the rain, which is kind of complicated, but here is the UV multiplier and the default value is right here. You may change that in a way so all will affect the whole scene with the UVs. Otherwise, you need to just select every piece, double click to the material instance, and you will see that all the rain material parameters right here, and you can change the UV multiplier by, for example, 2 right here, but you need to do the same for this one as well. So which makes it hard to just manipulate anything, everything in one click. So it may be the better way to just adjust the rainflow material function right here. So since we have adjusted the normal map effect, which looks way better than the other one actually, but since we have manipulated these, the other one right here is also affected as well. So let me see. Normally the disable effect should be enabled for those, but the one-click solution will generate flows for that as well, but it's hard to just see it since we have manipulated the overall material, because they are not dry materials for the one-click solution is going to manipulate. So moving away from that, we just made the normal map manipulation for this area, but we don't have any particles or other kind of stuff. Let me save those first, and then I will add the blueprint to this area as well. This may take a little time. Alright, so here, switching back to the blueprint, actually it's, yeah, still taking a little bit more time. Alright, so here I am going to add my blueprint right here. It will also affect the area as before. Let me increase the scale. Yeah, so here it got so darker this way, but what I'm going to do with this post-process material, I will just use the particles of it and disable the surface projection, because we have already made the manipulated materials by normal maps to get a better look. So here we have the drops. Here maybe I can add a little light, like a street light here. Right, so this looks much better, if you ask me. So we have these drops right here, and yes, overall normal map application is looking cool, but the scale maybe got much higher. So let me show you what I meant by scaling everything in one click. I am going to switch to the material overlay function. Actually, not that one, the rainflow material function, which generates the flow effect, and it has this UV multiplier somewhere. Yeah, right here. I am going to multiply this by adding a node here. Let's do this by 2. Connect here, and I am going to save this. So saving the master material function, now we have all the flows and the splashes multiplied by 2. I can do that by 3 as well. Let me place it here for you to see the change. You see the overall scale is right here, and now it's tinier. To make it much more recognizable, I will make it by 10. It nearly unrecognizable this way, but 3 looks fine for the scale of this level, like this. So we have some rubble here, which is affected by the drops as well, which looks nice so far. The wall is also having some flows, like this. These are looking also nice. Actually really cool, by the way. Let me switch to a camera. Let's see. Maybe we can increase the scale a little bit. Because 3 looks made it hard to readability of the drops. So here is the multiplier. Let's make it multiplied by 2. Did I save it actually? Yeah. Alright, it looks really great for the cinematic shots as well. The other one is a one-click solution, also lightweight, but this one, since it manipulates the normal map, is great for using cinematic shots for the flows and the splashes actually. So you can see that the unfocused area also looks so cool. Like this. So let's see the splashes for the top surfaces, which is much more like it. Yeah, making the colors a little bit darker and decreasing the roughness of the existing materials works so great, since tiny areas are affected by the splashes and the flows. Yeah, looking nice actually. So here is the overall look of the scene. I'm going to add some comparison shots between the application of the material as well. Probably it will be hard for me to find the exact camera angle, but it will give a clue about how this material changes an existing scene. So what I will going to do is just set the UV multiplier back to 1 actually. So the readability is much more better on this one. Yeah. So let's check this light right here. Sorry. Let's make a shot by here. Yeah. So this concludes the overall introduction or the demonstration of the new update, and you will see that the whole system works on many different use cases. Since you can manipulate normal maps, you can change any surface by just inputting the normal map and outputting connecting the output to the normal map input of the existing material to make it happen. Or you can use the one-click solution, which I just showed at the first part of this video. And also there is a translucent material and the post-process material as well.